Right, good morning everyone and welcome back to the 5USC26 Cup. That's right, it is the morning of Sunday, at least morning on the west coast here. It's already nicely into the afternoon for most of the rest of the continental United States. We are here back with some Major League action, and once again I will be presenting that to you. I am Bless, and I hope we are all having a wonderful slow, relaxing Sunday. We do have the bans out already for these teams. Arizona banning out Hidden 1 and Easy as they did in the previous round, and Oklahoma banning the DT4 and Hard Rock 3. Interestingly enough, this is actually a ban pair we've seen a couple times before, actually. I believe just last night in one of the matches, there was a team who ended up banning both of these. It was, oh, I literally just casted it the other day, last night. It was, no, not Nevada, Oregon. It was Alabama versus Colorado. Yeah, Alabama banning out the DT4 and Hard Rock 3, but then, funny enough, winning on both of the alt picks for the first two picks, for their first 2 points of the match. So that did not end up working out so well for them. I'm pretty sure they would have liked some more alt and alt adjacent picks in the map pool after that. But perhaps a bit of a different story for Oklahoma. We are going to see a quick No-Mod 5 pick for Arizona, and I do think this is a quite good way to start for them. Arizona, they did look quite good comparatively on some of these kinds of picks. I can't really quite say hyper precision, but I can say that the one or two things they did look better than this Oklahoma team that they could punch up above their weight class, above their seeding on, were the Hard Rocks and actually some of the tapping and high ARDT. But more so the Hard Rocks than anything else. So first pick precision, always going to be a bold one, you know, with first map nerves, and especially how much that can affect precision specifically as a skill set compared to others. But depends. Just a second. But yeah, this should be a pretty good pick as long as Arizona is well acclimated to hyper precision, not just at AR10 but also at AR8. And I do think they have some pretty decent players for this. Of course, Zeke, their evergreen all-rounder, going to be in for just about everything, anything and everything. And then the other players, NCL Bop, a gimmick Phil, and Mr. No Life. Also a gimmick player, but less so precision than other gimmicks. So it is a little bit worrying. And you take a look at Oklahoma on the other side. Of course, you have Takasaki Yu, hidden hard up preference player, so does quite enjoy the small circles. And you have Wisdom Weir, or just Weir. He is a pretty big gimmick player for them as well. And then Andre Dubs, the last player, pretty good at gimmick as well. But also just accompanying Takasaki Yu, also known as Nangong Yu now after that name change on all our maps. We do already see, however, quite a bit of an early lead as Oklahoma did find a lot more breaks in the first half of that map. We're already halfway through. Very healthy 250k or so score lead for Arizona at the moment as Mr. No Life and Seal Bop still holding on to their combos, but as I say that, Mr. No Life going to be dropping his. And some of the trickier parts of this map are surprisingly not the high spacing parts, but actually more of the small spacing, just due to the amount of cursor control you need and those tiny, super precise cursor motions. Of course, it is in the name of the skill set hyper precision, and there goes NCL Bop and Mr. No Life to follow as well. And this is a big opportunity for Oklahoma as they have been holding on to the recovery combos. Wisdom Weir and Andre Dubs with some really nice reverse chokes, but there goes Wisdom Weir. It's going to be traded out by Zeke, however, and Arizona have nothing left. Takasaki Yu going to fall through into the ending, but Andre Dubs holding on for barely long enough, I think, as the scoreline is 50k, and 50k it will stay on their side. And yeah, A little bit of an unfortunate mishap for Arizona on their first pick. Going for something that um, didn't really expect from them. If anything, I would expect the Oklahoma team to pick more into the gimmick, considering how mechanics pilled this Arizona team is. And Arizona, just historically as a state over the years, has been incredibly mechanics pilled, and you can even see that in their bans both this round and the previous round. The double reading hidden 2 easy 1 bans coming out both times, 2 rounds in a row. These Arizona players do not like anything funky. They just want some straightforward aim mechanics for the most part. But in that sense, it's a little funky that Oklahoma ban out DT4 and Hard Rock 3, but as I was saying earlier at the same time, not the most comfortable on the high AR gimmicks, not doing so amazing on the DT3 back in quals. And just sliders in general, the Nomad 4 as well, so probably just adding more fuel to the fire of, hey, let's not pick the one map that combines 2 skill sets that Arizona beats us on and around the SR of the pool. So that making a lot of sense. And as well, the Hard Rock 3, some tech adjacent Hard Rock, quite similar to Hard Rock 1 from quals, where Arizona beat them out by 600,000 team score. Thanks to, I believe that's a near FC from Zeke07, their evergreen all-rounder. We do see the hidden 3 pick come out from Oklahoma as they look to consolidate this break point for a strong start. And it'd be some hidden gameplay. We should still see Takasaki Yun for this one, and Andre Dubs, that being their core duo of players, and Wisdom Weir gonna be filling out that roster due to the slightly gimmicky nature. I mean, hidden 3 historically, traditionally a gimmick slot. This one I do feel it is a bit more heavy on the mechanics. Just simply due, like, yes, it is an alt map. It's snap alts, but it's also 120 BPM. You could just classify this as awkward aim. And in for the other side, gonna be Zeke07, of course, this time accompanied by NCL Bop and Takora. Gonna be coming in. Ranked 70k, but don't be fooled by that one. She is a tech main, and of course that is going to be keeping her rank quite low down there. Only playing tech. Didn't really expect them to come in for the hiddens. As normally if they are going to fill a mod, it would be the Hard Rocks alongside, of course, the Nomad 3 and the Nomad 4. Their main skill sets, but the alt aim control, the ulti awkward aim from this map, also probably a good fit for them. And yeah, from their own comments, they do say they can play hidden, so we'll have to see how well they do. This map, you do really want to keep holding on to the early combo on the map, and as I say that, Zeke07 going to be going down using his early combo. And yeah, it really is a test of how long you can hold on to the relatively freer score that you get earlier on in the map. As we do into the first Ki Wisdom, we're a couple 50s, couple strange act drops tapping really early on that one. Probably a little bit of a misread on the rhythm. But I mean, a bigger issue here is going to be the double drops combos from Takura and NCL Bop at the end of that. It is traded out by Andre Dubs, but again, Zeke07 dropping his combo earlier before the start of that Ki does mean Wisdom Weir and Takasaki Yu are going to be holding on to their FCs into the second half of the app. And especially Takasaki Yu with that 97, almost 98% accuracy on his FC. Wisdom Weir a little bit worse for wear, down at 94, but he will still be doing just fine as he works with his teammate to bring about a 300k score lead in the second half that is only going to climb. Already at 350k as we go into the second Ki, and there goes some more combos from Arizona. Zeke and NCL Bop going down. Of course, the Arizona, not exactly the most hidden pilled of teams, so even if they could normally play the mechanics, probably just not the most comfortable thanks to this mod addition. We'll just take some time to talk about these teams for a little bit, as it does look like Oklahoma will be comfortably cleaning up the rest of the map. I think Takasaki might have had a little oopsie right before the break, and unfortunate for him. But yeah, Oklahoma, been a pretty decent lower half, middle of the pack team over the years. Last year losing Takasaki Yu, but the year before that having the combination of Haijio and Takasaki Yu, as well as a couple of older players, did put them at their historical best finish of 13th through 16th, making it to the second round of lower bracket quarterfinals. But not having Takasaki Yu last year, as he did go over to Stateless. And that, along with 4 brand new players to the team, did mean that they did find their historical worst finish, seed 32 into 25th through 32nd. Seer seeding a little bit higher, 24th, but still not where they would like to be, especially given their historical seeding performance in quals. Hoping that the return of Takasaki Yu is going to bring about some good fortunes for them. And they do only have 2 returning members, or 2 brand new members this year, those being Andre Dubs and Chimpman Swag. Drakium, Yama, and Wisdom Weir being returning members from last year. Drakium actually a returning member from a long time ago, even 2023. And Yama being a name change of Yamaksanadu. But yeah, Oklahoma cleaning up that hidden 3 after coming out to a nice hefty early lead. It's going to be a Hard Rock 2 pick for Arizona. Making a lot of sense after, you know, both seeing the quals results for Oklahoma and seeing that Hard Rock 3 ban. A little bit surprised that they're not taking the pivot into tapping, as that is another one of the slightly weaker parts of this Oklahoma roster. Although we do also have to say that with a lot of the players not really being tourney players, the nerves will be quite high, but if there's any skill set that nerves could help you on, it is the tapping. So perhaps smartly not picking into the tapping yet, waiting for the opponent's nerves to settle yet, waiting for the adrenaline rush to perhaps calm down a little bit, and only then strike on the tapping, where that adrenaline rush might have actually been helpful. For this map, a little bit surprised to not see Andre Dubs in the lobby for Oklahoma, as he is supposed to be that close duo for Takasaki Yu, but the Hard Rock, actually not one of his fortes, bit more hidden pilled. They do have quite the amount of Hard Rock fill players to provide hefty coverage and support for Takasaki Yu. On the mod, of course, Chimpman Swag, Mechanics and Hard Rock, Yama in for everything tapping on Hard Rock, and this time we'll be seeing Drakium fill out the 3rd slot. Is a little bit surprised to also see Wisdom Weir in here, as not exactly. I didn't really see him as a Hard Rock player, but I guess, I mean, learn new things every day. I guess gimmick precision and hyper precision is counted enough within the realm of the Hard Rock gimmick. And he did play the Hyper Precision map earlier, so gonna be quite warm on these small circles, I think. I believe. Looking at the other side, we do see Zeke07, once again accompanied by NCO Bop, and once again Takura in the lobby for some Hard Rock alt, or Hyper Precision alt. It's also, this map, a little bit swingy, so perhaps contributing to some of the techie gimmicky nature. She is also quite good at rhythm maps, I have to add, but unfortunately gonna be finding an early break for her team alongside NCL Bob. Gonna be traded out on the other side, however, and actually Oklahoma, no big combos at the moment as we see Wisdomware once again drop his recovery. The largest combo on their side being Drakium at the moment, but Zeke still holding on to a nice big FC, big strong 97.5 accuracy FC at that. His supporting combos will drop, but they've already come out to around a 350,000 score lead. And picking into the Hard Rock mod does seem to have been the correct choice, as Oklahoma struggling like we saw them struggle in qualifiers on this mod. And yeah, just look at that shake from Drakium. You can tell he is so nervous, and nerves on top of being forced to play Hard Rock on CS 6.5. It's not a good time, especially if you're not just a Hard Rock main who's super comfortable on this mod regardless. And yeah, I think that's Zeke closing out an FC. No, not quite. It looks like he did miss near the ending, unfortunately. So not quite getting that, but of course the score difference is more than enough to take the point home for his team. And even just looking at the rest of the team, it's just Takasaki Yu, their main, a bit longer of a tournament veteran, also participating in 5WC scrims and tryouts, as well as RTT even. So definitely a bit more active in the tournament scene than the rest of his team. The only player to get higher score than any of the Arizona players, beating out NCL Bob at a low 300k. But yeah, Zeke doing some Zeke things. It is going to be a quick Flex 1 pick, however. Probably leaning into the gimmick ability of his team and saying, hey, we can just take double hidden on this, and then I'll take the hidden Hard Rock. I'll take my comfort mod. But I do feel like this is still pretty good pick for Arizona. It's not like they don't have any hidden players at all. They do have one or two fill players here and there, particularly Mr. No Life being pretty good on the easy mod and other more traditional No Mod 6 gimmick maps. You know, we probably won't be seeing a lot of low AR No Mod in this tournament just due to the fact that we have the easy mod slots, but also hidden 1 player. So you combine those experiences, you know, you have hidden 1 and you have No Mod 6, and what happens when you put those together? You have an aim hidden 2, and this is just an aim hidden 2 map. So if you do take hidden, I do think Mr. No Life will be quite comfortable on this and just see the rest of his team fill out slots with Hard Rock. Probably going to be seeing, I want to say Zeke and Takura, but it also could be Zeke and Polar, or even Zeke and Burning Flares. We did see Burning Flare sitting in the lobby earlier, and we do see him sitting in there again. There is also NCL Bob, so could see them in as a gimmick fill, picking up the hidden mod and maybe relying on some slightly stronger aim mechanics compared to Mr. No Life. Although Mr. No Life does play the hidden ones, so should be quite comfortable on AR8 aim as well. It's just going to be a pretty standard, old style, very clean and open visuals type of map. I know I say that and there is just one stack pattern that comes to mind that does show up here and there. And yeah, on the other side, this is basically what we expect. Takasaki, you're going to be in for the hidden Hard Rock, and Andre Dub's probably the hidden, as he is a hidden main, and then Wisdom Weir also hidden main. I mean, you just have 2 hidden players who are quite comfortable on the hidden mod, and yeah, it's going to be a good time for them. Despite this map being an anti-mod, I almost want to say this map is quite comfortable on both mods. It feels quite mod neutral. It's not particularly favoring one mod or the other, as the hidden isn't too difficult, but neither is the hard rock aim on CS 6.5 for this. If anything, it might be even slightly hidden favored, but I think the traditional hard rock favored nature of free mod 2 anti-mods does sort of balance that out. We do see the other hard rock player in for Arizona. It will be burning flare. And yeah, here we are into the map. It is nothing too complicated. So I do feel like this, once again, I do feel like this is quite a good pick for Arizona as well, though NCL Bop showing some quick discomfort on the AR8 hidden reading. And he will be the only player to have dropped combo so far as we approach the end of the second Ki, the outro to the chorus, the B part of the chorus. And Oklahoma still holding on to 3 FCs, and that will give them a quite hefty score advantage of about 100k as we go into the first break. Taking a quick check-in on the accuracies, Zeke at 98.6, but going to be matched by Wisdom Weir and Andre Dubs, both on their own 98s, and Takasaki Yu on the 96.5. But also with the hidden hard rock multiplier, going to be keeping him pretty close with Zeke's score for now. And of course, NCL Bop down there at about half the score of the rest of the lobby, 130k. But there goes Wisdom Weir right out of the break, not quite locked in and ready to start playing again. You have to be ready for these breaks, and I think that's a little bit of the tournament inexperience, lack of tournament experience coming into play there for him. So the score lead does slowly go back the way of Arizona, especially with that drop from Andre Dubs. It's just Takasaki Yu to hold against the duo, the hard rock duo of Zeke and Burning Flare. The mechanics of Arizona on display at the moment as they do finally bring that scoreline over in their favor. And CL Bop also recovering nicely as we approach another break. And Arizona do hold on to all their combos, as does Takasaki Yu to his, but the recoveries, he needs something more. I need Arizona to break to pull this back. It's still within reach, but Wisdom Weir going to be breaking to send that score skyrocketing into Arizona's favor at the end. And yeah, this the combo density plus just approaching the end of the map, really letting the score balloon into its final form. And so will that lead into the 200k range. NCL Bop going to be dropping his recovery, traded out with Wisdom Weir, but it doesn't matter, as Arizona have already secured the point, and a pre-consolidated break point at that, to tie things back up at 2-2 after a bit of a mishap on their first pick. And congrats to Zeke for FCing. Funny enough, Takasaki Yu FCing with a little bit lower AC, about 1.26% lower, and still getting a higher score thanks to that hidden hard rock multiplier. So yeah, also pays to have a hidden hard rock preference, I guess. Also a PFC, looks like he didn't drop any slider as well as Zeke dropped one. But of course, props to both players for finding their FCs, but the team is a supporting team. Cast is what makes the difference, and we are just running down the hard rocks at this point. Arizona picking into the hard rock 1 now. And what else could it be? What else? Oklahoma have said A with a hard rock 3, and Arizona said B with a hard rock 2 pick and victory. And now you must say C and follow it up with a hard rock 1 pick immediately. Old chess saying from some old Soviet grandmasters, actually, you know. They would say, what else? What else? In their old Soviet accents. I mean, you say A, so you must say B afterwards. Like, why else would you say A? And yeah, I do think this is Arizona just collecting their free points now and hopefully letting the nerves shake off from Oklahoma before they get into the tapping picks. Do you wonder which tapping picks they will try and go into, as I think he would try and want to get Takasaki Yu out of the lobby as their most experienced player. So maybe not picking into the Nomad 2, which is maybe something he can still play, and instead going something for something like the DT2, DT3. Of course, the Tech is also another option, as that is one of the other only maps that Arizona won out against Oklahoma in qualifier stats. But that was a very meager victory. Just about, yeah, just shy of 200,000 team score there for the gap. But that is an issue for future Arizona to figure out after they convert, hopefully, on their own pick. And of course, some very comfortable and confident Hard Rock players here in the lobby. As I say that, Zeke going to be finding the first break right before the first Ki. Going to be finding some more trades, however, Wisdom Weir and Burning Flare, but this does go in favor of Oklahoma at the moment. Although I say that, there goes Drakeam as well at the beginning of the first Ki. Takasaki Yu, the only player to hold up against Polar in the 1v1, and the accuracy leads are still going to give Arizona an ever so slight advantage. Zeke up there with 99% AC, 99.5 mind you, my goodness. Now, the good news for Oklahoma is that they do have Takasaki Yu on the 98.5 FC as opposed to Polar's 96, but I mean, they don't even have that anymore, as Takasaki Yu drops his combo as well right at the end. Not quite able to hold into the next quote-unquote slow section, and you really want to hold through these first Ki's. That is one of those hallmark features of these anime maps, and Polar shaking a little bit as he does realize that as well. Also quite cognizant of the situation he has put himself in by holding through into the second easy section of the map. The recoveries are coming in nicely, however, and I think just as the longer this map goes on, the more opportunity Oklahoma is going to have to break and show their lack of consistency on the Hard Rock mechanic skill sets. Some slider jumps, going to be catching Drakeam as he goes into the burst, and actually that's a full team wipe from Oklahoma. And yeah, over the course of this map, Arizona just showing their mechanics chops, showing why their state plays this skill set for years on end. Burning Flare and Zeke going to be dropping their recoveries once again on those bursts. Just a little bit of an error on the flow. But spacing. Polar finding some really big shakes here, about looks just centimeters away from dropping, and there he will go. It's a full team wipe, but basically a full team wipe on the other side as well, and it's just Wisdom Weir with a very meager 250 recovery. Yeah, apologies as Takasaki Yu also matching him going into the break, but is already 650,000 in the pockets of Arizona. I don't think there's any coming back from this one. Takasaki probably sitting at around a max potential score of 550k if he FCs and SSs the rest, and Wisdom Weir likewise around 380, 390, and he will most definitely not be reaching that cap after that miss right there. Yeah, this is just Arizona comfortably taking another Hard Rock pick, as was expected. Takasaki Yu not quite able to reach the 500k mark either, as he will trip right before the finish line. Unfortunate for him. Drakeam. There's still a map after that ending spinner. I know it doesn't matter when you're hitting tab right there and you see the scoreline, but let's play the map, brother. But yeah, Polar, really good score. 700k on that map is nothing to scoff at. 0 misses, just a few 50s, at least one of those being a slider break. But it looks like we have some more quick picks coming through. Takasaki Yu putting the hidden one into the lobby before the ref even puts the score line in the chat. Now, perhaps this is where we will see Mr. No Life in, as they are supposed to be in for the hidden ones. That is explicitly listed on their description that we have from their players. For now, just Zeke and NCO Bop. NCO Bob being a mechanics all-rounder who can also fill the big gimmick, but so gonna make a lot of sense to see him in here, but gonna be looking at Takura in the lobby. Not necessarily my first pick for just some raw hidden aim, but she has been practicing the hidden a lot recently. Still, I feel like Mr. No Life would be a bit of a better pick. Just due to, like, how much better can you get at hidden within the span of 1 or 2 weeks? I mean, maybe she can shut me up with a good performance here. On the other side, of course, the duo ever so persistent of Takasaki Yu and Andre Dubs, accompanied by Wisdom Weir once again. Of course, the map being a part of the hidden pool. Close enough within his wheelhouse and with the rest of the players. Being a bit more hard rock pilled, probably not the most comfortable. Probably just being... I mean, we did see this trio in for the hidden 3 earlier as well. So, it does make a lot of sense. And I don't think any of their other players are really super comfortable on the hidden mod. But fortunately, Andre Dubs, I mean, I was going to say, fortunately, supposed to be quite comfortable on the hidden mod. But gonna be the only one to find a break for his team in Oklahoma. Fortunately for him, Zeke and Takura finding a double break to trade things right back, and NCO Bob missing a bit earlier on in that first Ki means no combos will hold for Arizona into the second verse. Up against the dual FCs of Wisdom Weir and Takasaki Yu for a score line of 250k and climbing as Arizona continue to struggle with their comfort on the mod. Takura with a big chain miss on that burst, just missing the first note of that, and you know you're gonna note lock the rest. Zeke and NCO Bob continue to find more miss aims. Wisdom Weir does drop his FC, so now it is just Takasaki Yu, but once we get to around the 500-600k mark, it really does just become uncomebackable at that point, and yeah, Takasaki Yu still showing such prowess. Look at that 99 point however percent accuracy. So comfortable on hacking these maps. Of course, being a hidden hard rock player, gonna have quite low UR naturally, just as a part of how he plays the game. And you know, you bring your OD10 practice into a map like this that is just OD9. Of course, might have a little bit of reading difficulty with the hidden, but he's also a hidden hard rock player, so even fewer difficulties with reading hidden than any other player. And the score lead does go above 900k. Going to be approaching 1 million as Takasaki Yu looks to close in on this FC. Almost single-handedly making up this entire score difference, as the score lead does eclipse 1 million from team to team. And Takasaki Yu pulling off a 1v3 in the end with a 99.19 FC. My goodness. This man can aim. I suppose I should extend some light apologies to Takura, as she does basically match the rest of her team in terms of her individual score. And the difference in accuracy is well within... it should be well within 2 standard deviations. But yeah, Oklahoma looking really good on that one as they do secure another point traded with Arizona. And now the score is once again tied up to 3-3. We are into a best of 5, 2 picks left maximum for each team. And we will finally see Arizona go into the DTs. It's the DT1. It is the high AR. This is a bit of an interesting one, as we did see the aim just go the way of Oklahoma on the hidden one, but of course that is hidden. I do think the result of that map is more so influenced by a lack of comfort on hidden rather than a lack of comfort on aim mechanics. As we know very well, Arizona, big mechanics pill as part of their morning breakfast every day. And Takasaki, you should be in for this, should be still quite comfortable. Andre Dubs, we didn't see him in for the Hard Rocks, so I'm not sure if he wants to be in for this one, just due to the high AR, but he might not have a choice. I mean, you would assume that the Hard Rock players are also able to play DT, but maybe a little bit more struggle there. It does look like we have Chimpman Swag in the lobby at the moment, but yeah, not really any huge DT specialists. They do seem more leaning on the Hard Rock side of things, and I mean, we did see Andre Dubs almost get an FC on the DT1 in qualifiers, but of course that one much lower AR and a little bit more awkward aim at that. And then when you take a look at the other high AR map from that pool, you're looking at the DT3 where he wasn't even in for it. So not entirely sure how they do on just standard 10.3 mechanics. We will see. And on the other side, it's going to be Zeke and a Burning Flare in for Arizona. And this is actually a bit of a surprise. I have invited Takura to multiple DT mechanics lobbies, and she has declined every time, saying she doesn't want to get gapped on DT mechanics, a skill set she is very vocal about hating. But she's going to be in for it for this one. Over her other teammates, no NCL Bop, no Polar even. And of course, you wouldn't want to see Mr. No Life in for this one either. So it will be Takura as the third player for this one. Holding on to an SS, and Toshi does find her first act drop of the map. Going to be a miss, unfortunately. But we are into that first TI. We'll have to see how long these players can hold on for. Of course, we can hold through this first TI section. That is a lot of free score you can get in the second verse. And so far, Oklahoma holding on very nicely. So looks like the struggles on the DT3 were more so a combination of the high AR and the gimmicky nature of the map, as opposed to just the high AR. Now I say that Chimpman Swag gonna be finding a miss coming out of the miss, finding a break coming out of the break. Once again, the irregular tournament player nerves striking once again. Of course, tournament veterans gonna be a little bit more practiced in not falling for those and always staying locked in through the breaks. But here we go into the second TI section. Still Takasaki and Andre Dubs holding on, but there goes Andre Dubs. And also just a look at the accuracy difference between these two teams. Is Takasaki also going down, while Zeke and Burning Flare continue to hold. Takura on a nice recovery to back them up as well. Zeke on 99%. And Burning Flare on a nice 96.5, and you look at the other players on the other side of the aisle, nobody above 96. It is just Chimpman Swag at a nice high 95, the closest to any of the players on Arizona, and that was making up so much of that score difference earlier on. You know, it was pretty close in the combos, if not a slight lead to Oklahoma in the early parts, but still 100,000 or so score lead to Arizona back then. And once those combos collapse, and the rest of the scoreline will follow, as Zeke and Burning Flare looking to close out a couple nice FCs. And Not quite reaching 3 million team score, I think, due to Cora finding a couple more misses than she would have liked, but still very impressive team scores. Look at that 9x 100s and just 150 from Zeke. And Burning Flare gonna be closing out the perfect FC as well, as that is a very comfortable pick for Arizona. Just over the course of the map, the comfort on AR 10.3, being able to hold your mechanics, hold your nerve, maintain your level of reading and pattern processing throughout 2.5 minutes of intense high BPM mechanics. Gonna end up working out in favor of Arizona in the end. And we will continue the train of some very quick picks between these teams. Nomad 4 already getting called out by Takasaki Yu. Not really running this timer at all. It's going to be Fallout, a little bit of a Citrus remix. Citrus, we do love his music here in the OC rhythm game scene. Lots of original songs for various tournaments throughout the years, of course. Notably, Extra Judgment in 2022, OWC Grand Finals tiebreaker. And then maybe a little bit less known map out there, Metal Globe, a Nomad 3 alt tech map, which was an original for the Perennial Grand Finals in 2024. So a couple of very high profile tournaments, high SR tech maps. This one's going to be a little bit lower on the SR, of course, being meant for the 5-digit rank range. And I think this might also just be a pre-existing song, most probably not an original. Although he has consistently put out lots of new tracks in the featured artist section, very often getting some refreshes and new additions to his entry. Snow on 4 quite similar to that of the round of 32. So I do believe we'll have data on one of the teams, but not the other for this one, if I'm recalling correctly. And yeah, we do have data on Arizona, around 1.7 million team score. So very similar map, although a little bit harder on some of the big and fast sliders. And it's going to be Zeke, of course, accompanied by NCL Bop and Polar this time. Interestingly, not Takura out for her main skill set, but in for the skill sets that I would not consider to be her main. And looking at the other side of the aisle, we do have, of course, Takasaki Yu, Andre Dubs, and Wisdom Weir. This map going to be gimmicky enough for Wisdom Weir to come in and just cover. Of course, we do see a little bit of that flowy tech, mech tech, with a little bit more slider difficulty, you'll note, compared to the round of 32. Some big, funky shapes. As we are into the action quite early on already. Some more slider jumps coming in. It was only Zeke to find the soul break in the lobby. Mind you, this is Arizona's pick. So they have to be looking quite comfortable, but there goes Andre Dubs on an unfortunate slider break. Looked like he just barely under-aimed the edge of that slider head. But we do go into some more aim control heavy parts. There are some back and forths, and the burst shapes do get a little funky. It's going to be Zeke to trade one back. A little bit delayed. Weir and Takasaki Yu still holding on to the double FCs. Going to be matched by Polar and NCL. Up there goes Takasaki Yu. And this score lead will just go further in the favor of Arizona now. A combo advantage securely in their hands as we enter the break. And once again, we've seen it a lot throughout this match. The accuracy's just so comfortable for Arizona. 97s on Zeke and NCL Bob, and a 95 on Polar. High 95 at that. And Wisdom Weir all the way down at 92. Andre Dubs able to almost match with the high 96 as Takasaki Yu on a high 95 as well. But overall, the accuracy's not looking as great for Oklahoma as we do see them on Arizona, but there comes a big slider stream into some more big flowing patterns. It's going to be Polar to drop his FC. So finally matching, but there goes Takasaki breaking his recovery, and it's still combo advantage to Arizona. Zeke's recovery ever so slightly behind Andre Dubs, but the accuracy more than making up for that as NCL Bop still on this FC to match that of Weir, and of course, having such a big accuracy advantage, it doesn't matter that everyone's dropping, but hold on, 100,000 scores still left in the map. Comes down to the last pattern, but not enough time for Andre Dubs to pull that one back, and break point to Arizona as the Nomad mechanics maybe a little bit too mechanics pilled. The slider's not tough enough, and perhaps a bit of a mispick for Oklahoma as Arizona will steal that one away. To put themselves on match point. And I really do have to think that this is a bit of a mispick. I feel like the tapping elements and the flowing mechanics do favor Arizona. And then on top of that, the Nomad 4 is one of the maps that Arizona outperformed Oklahoma on in tryouts. Or not tryouts, in qualifiers, excuse me. Yes, granted, it was just shy of a 2 million or 200k team score difference, but you're also banning DT4's Oklahoma. Yes, maybe that is more due to the high AR aspects, but if you are so comfortable on slider and techie maps, then surely there could have been something better to ban, like the Hard Rock 2, compare as opposed to something like a DT4 or Hard Rock 3. Now, I suppose the Hard Rock 3 definitely makes sense to ban, because that is some techie Hard Rock. The AR-10 being quite difficult to read and parse through the rhythms there, as it does also have some strange rhythms. So I definitely feel like the Hard Rock 3 ban was quite good one, but DT4 ban maybe could have been swapped out for a Hard Rock 2 if they are feeling comfortable enough on tech to pick Nomad 4. It will be DT2, however, as Arizona look to close things out after putting themselves in pole position with the break point right near the end of this match. This is also a lower bracket matchup, so of course these teams playing for elimination. And the winner playing for the right to play against the loser of New Jersey versus Illinois, awaiting the result of that match in the upper bracket later today. But yeah, we have reached the late stages of this match, and perhaps the nerves of Oklahoma have settled enough for Arizona to feel comfortable picking into tapping and not expecting Oklahoma to have the nerves buff to make the speedy fingies go burr. We do see the rosters here. Zeke and Burning Flare, a duo we've seen time and again throughout this match, and going to be rounded out by Polar for his tapping mechanics. Quite a good tapping player of his own right. On the other side for Oklahoma, I think we might have an abort here. It's Chimpman Swag looking to not be playing the map here, as his cursor is no longer even on the screen. Probably just typed to the ref asking for an abort, and yeah, there it'll be. Or not? No, it looks like he's just going to be forced to play the map. Yeah, and apparently we didn't see anything in the game chat either. So not really sure what's going on there. We will see a couple more misses out from Drakium, one of the tournament rookies. Can be traded out by Polar. So it's just Andre Dubs, the lone FC, to fight up against Burning Flare and Zeke, as Oklahoma fighting for their tournament lives and to avoid a repeat of last year, a repeat of their worst performance 5USC ever. And Arizona hoping to continue their upward trend from last year, making it past the round of 16 for the first time and hoping to make that a second 200,000 score is the lead that Arizona have for themselves on their last pick of this match. Is unfortunately encountering some more Bancho issues, but I do think this has been such a good pick for Arizona. You know, you got the opposing tournament veteran on the other side out of the lobby. Takasaki, not so comfortable with speed, not so comfortable with stamina, and that is two skill sets that we saw on okay. All right, I was a little bit confused as to what happened, but I have gotten the news that they did eventually manage to abort. Fortunately for Arizona, it looks like Chipman Swag's still a little bit laggy. Maybe that's just Bancho. I'm not sure what's going on for him, as the client does look quite laggy. Surely that's got to be Bancho from misses from Polar as well. Looks like we will have a bit of a panic to try and get things synced back up again, but sometimes Bancho does just like to die on us. And it does look like those misses were real. We'll have to wait and see for about maybe 10 to 20 more seconds, but for now we are getting into the intense section. Drakium still holding on to some nice... Actually, it looks like everyone on the side of Oklahoma did find some misses in the opening section. As we go into the more intense section, some big spacing on these bursts. They are just quints, but the spacing does get quite big, and especially with some of the more intense aim mechanics compared to the DT3 in this pool, it can be pretty bad for your nerves. You know, you're so focused on the tapping that you do just forget to read sometimes, and that will end up in a lot of miss aims on a map like this. But looking at the other players for Arizona, so comfortable. Zeke, 99 accuracy. Again, how many times has he shown such good accuracy this match? Burning Flare right behind him as well with a bit of lower AC, but still on the FC nonetheless. And there goes Chipman Swag on the 1/3, on a big burst as well. Zeke will drop his FC, but it's traded out by Drakium as well. And Burning Flare up against Andre Dubs. But there's nothing left to be said anymore. We're already up to the end of the map, and unfortunately for Oklahoma, their struggles have shown on the speed stamp. It is 800,000 score as Burning Flare closes out the FC and closes out the execution sentence for Oklahoma, as we will be saying goodbye to them in a repeat of their worst ever finish in the 5-digit United States Cup, as Arizona do close out and continue their upward trend from last year. Commiserations to Oklahoma, as they will be sent back home with another disappointing year. Things not quite the same after losing that roster with Hygio and referee. Of course, moving on to some bigger and better things in other rank ranges, and Hygio having a little bit of a dip back into 5-digit, but not with Oklahoma. As for Arizona, of course, we must give them their flowers. Zeke, Burning Flare, and NCO Bot putting in a lot of work on so many maps, and of course Polar with a fabulous performance on that Hard Rock 1 earlier. And Takura coming in for a lot of maps that we wouldn't traditionally expect her to come in for. And Mr. No Life showing up as well, for unfortunately only able to play the Nomad 5 this week, but still nonetheless a participant for his team and contributing to their victory. Arizona will be moving on to the losers bracket round of 8 quarterfinals to face the loser of New Jersey versus Illinois. Will be awaiting the result of that upper bracket match. But for now, that will be all from us. It is GG's, as we must say goodbye, but only for 5 minutes, as we will be back soon with some more action, probably on the A stream. We do have another match at 19 UTC. That's going to be Michigan C team versus Pennsylvania B down in the minor league. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, guys. Thank you for watching this one, however, and if that's all you can watch, of course, we'll see you later. But for those of you who still got some more time, stick around. 5 minutes. We'll be right back.